You're watching the Move Me podcast with Kevin Methvin. Today we have the very positive, very uplifting Jessica Irwin with Upward Title and Escrow. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I mean, Jessica, I understand you've been doing this a while. You want to give the viewers a little bit of insight on how long you've been working in title or escrow?
Well, I was pretty much inbred into the business. My mother was an escrow officer. So I was, privileged enough to learn the business on school breaks and then chose it as a career path. So 25 plus years as an escrow officer.
Wow. So you've probably seen a few things and heard a few stories.
A little bit, yes.
Well, and I know fraud is probably one of those topics that get brought up all the time.
It is.
Yeah, and they have something new called FINCEN that we have to experience this year.
So FINCEN is very important. It's the Financial Crime Enforcement Network. And there's new regulations starting March 1st to where all cash buyers will need to be reported.
Oh, wow.
So this means, entities such as trust, LLCs, any kind of partnership, purchasing real estate will have to go through kind of, in a sense, a background check prior to closing escrow to prevent fraud.
Oh, that's really good to hear. I mean, you have to hold those people accountable. I see at the very bottom of all the emails coming from my title and escrow officers about wires and fraud and to look out for it. And it really is a big deal these days.
It's huge. It's huge.
So what are some of the things that you've seen in relation to fraud that we've caught?
Well, something else that's really big right now is vacant land being sold.
Okay.
And I specifically have heard stories where there's been absent sellers. They're not living in the area of the lot that they're selling.
Okay.
And they become victim to fraudulent activity to where people present themselves as that seller, close a transaction, and it's, luckily something comes to light that some activity has happened. And that's one thing that's critical about title insurance.
Yeah. And having the right chain of title too, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually experiencing this with a family member where they're having an issue with some fraud, trying to prove who owned a property and if there was really a deed there or not. And you want to talk about deeds a little bit and kind of give the viewers a little information on that?
Yes, sure. So fraudulent activity is huge in regards to transferring ownership. That's when, say, for instance, this property, you sign a deed over to me, and it's outside of a transaction. You're just selling your interest to me, and we record it. Well, I go to refinance this property, and one thing that's really critical is called an uninsured deed affidavit. This is typically required prior to closing escrow because they want to make sure that you, in fact, did sign over your interest of this property to me. Because there are a lot of fraudulent activity, again, in regards to transferring property, and unfortunately owners aren't aware of it until it's really too late.
Oh, ouch.
And then it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah. And then what about if there's other liens that might have popped on, like someone's doing construction on the home, getting ready to sell it, other liens to satisfy? You see that all the time too?
That's really important. When you have a preliminary chain of title, you want to make sure that liens are being cleared, that defects against the property, meaning delinquent taxes, mechanic liens, things like that are cleared up. And you mentioned construction. So if you're in the middle of a transaction and somebody is doing work, any kind of major remodels, busting out a wall and doing extensions of a home.
Yeah.
If it's done within 12 months, they're going to have to get their contractors involved and financials involved because we want to prevent any future mechanic liens on behalf of the new owner or even on a refinance, the lender who's requiring title insurance.
Yeah. And then what about a line of credit? What if they took money out and then they didn't close the account? You told me about that earlier. Can you expand on that a little bit?
There's a lot of equity lines that don't get closed out. And this could be from previous owners on a property. This could be a 20-year-old equity line, and somebody's finally doing a transaction refinance. These things will remain on the preliminary title report that will need to be cleared up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that will be required through title insurance to be cleared before closing a transaction.
Yeah, and it's funny because I get a lot of first-time home buyers. They're just got a little bit of money saved up. They're buying their first home, and then I see all these title fees, and they're like, "What are these for? Do I really need to pay them?" And I go,
Right.
"They are saving you so much headache and potential, costs down the line." Right?
And what's great is, unlike car insurance or any other insurance, it's a one-time fee.
Yeah, it's only the one time.
One time for the life of owning the property.
Absolutely.
And, you can sleep at night knowing that you have title insurance if the unknown pops up.
Yeah. So 2 owners ago, somebody didn't pay a mechanic, and all of a sudden there's a lien on title. You're not going to be responsible for it, right?
It happens.
Yeah. And then you mentioned something about there's like a new way of signing that some other states are, what do you call it, Ron, I believe? Or
Ron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that work and work into the signing?
So one of the great things I'm a fan of in regards to mobile notaries is, you have somebody actually at the signing, actually notarizing, people validating their identity through a transaction, which also avoids any potential
fraud. Yeah.
Because everything that's being done more electronically, it really creates opportunity.
Right. Opportunity for that fraud, or even just other mistakes happening, things that need to get corrected. And, sometimes it's too late and you have to go back. I mean,
and that's when really, the heartache and headaches happen. People are already stressed out over real estate.
Oh, yeah.
But when you have to clean up issues in real estate, it's not fun for anyone.
Oh, yeah. I know. I experienced one time where I was representing the buyer, and the seller, they're supposed to hold funds in escrow, and nope. Title company gave it back, and we walked into a huge mess, holes in the wall. It was a nightmare. So I ended up having to come out of my own pocket to satisfy that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So a lot of things happen, a lot of moving parts that people really don't realize happens behind the scenes.
A lot.
And people like Jessica are there to protect us and make sure that everything's going to be going okay.
Yes.
So we could probably talk about this all day long, but if someone wants to get a hold of you, has any questions on title insurance or anything title related, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm at Upward Title and Escrow. You can look me up online. You can reach me through social media, Jessica Irwin. Phone number 925-642-3170. I'm available all day.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for coming on and being a guest.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.